Welcome everyone to Jimmy John's Field in Utica, Michigan. Just about underway here in this game between the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers here today and the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring you the call here today in your Everest Academy pregame show from the United Shore Media Desk. So glad you could tune in. Another beautiful day for baseball. This temperature is kind of cooled / leveled off. The sun is out again here today though.
Very comfortable. Beautiful night for a ball game. I wish we could have the place packed like a typical USPBL Friday, but it is what it is. Great day to play ball.
Well, yesterday a 12-4 final in favor of the Utica Unicorns. It was that one inning though that was the big one.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a strange look for AJ Coleman. He's been, pretty competitive this year and very solid all the way around. Gives his club a chance to win. Got knocked around a little bit. Not a typical look for him, but another victory for Ty Hensley. On the flip side, the Unicorns continue to win ball games.
And the bigger story, I guess, was the bounce-back fifth inning for Ty Hensley. I mean, he sat there. We haven't gotten an exact time. I've heard 26 minutes. I've had 30 minutes, 35 minutes. It was a long time. Well, anytime you send 14 guys to the plate, you have a pitching change mixed into that. That can mess with you at a pitcher. And I was kind of talking about it on air yesterday, but you think about it, that's kind of borderline that half-hour, 35-minute mark. Even in a rain delay, some guys come out.
Yeah, the thing is you can't really prepare for that. With a rain delay, it's a rain delay. So then you can think about getting somebody up. If you're the manager in that kind of a situation, you don't know it's going to be a 26-minute inning or a 30-minute inning. Of course, you're happy about it because your club's scoring a lot of runs. And I'm sure Ty was happy about it, too, to get that kind of a lead. But not much you can do besides play catch and stretch and that type of thing. And maybe once the inning gets going, you get somebody up in the bullpen just because it might not go so well. But it's just one of those things. You're happy to see all those runs when you're Ty, but it's tough. It's tough to go out there and do that.
Well, if you can draw up a pro debut, a collegiate debut, a high school debut, maybe you say 5 for 5 with 6 RBIs or something crazy. Frankie Luska had a pretty darn good start to his career, though. 3 for 5, 3-run bomb, a part of that inning. That was kind of the big blast separating in the end what was big because it was a 9-4 game by the bottom half of the inning, but what a start for Frankie.
Well, what did the Unicorns need, right? They've been a team that has had great starting pitching. They're in first place. What did they need? They needed maybe one more big bopper in the middle of the order. Maybe Frankie Luska's that guy. Of course, we don't want to go too crazy too fast. It's his first ball game. He had a nice ball game. But if he can be in that 4 spot in the batting order, some DH, some first base, hit the ball over the fence, maybe that's what the Unicorns need to take him to the next level.
And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Taylor Jellikowski, a guy who we kind of replaced at Madonna in the batting order. Kind of cool to see that come full circle on him here as well.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's really becoming a well-balanced club, the Unicorns. The starting pitching is the number one thing, but that's going to have its ups and downs too. You're going to have injuries, and occasionally you're going to need your offense to buy you out of a tough start, and it's bound to happen. And if they can add another bat to that lineup, it's going to help them stay in first place.
Time to check your starting lineups, always sponsored by AAA. For the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers first, leading off for them is the second baseman Freddie Geely. Batting second, the third baseman Xavier Warren. Right behind him, the fellow Milwaukee product in Joey Weimer. I tell you what, if you see Warren and Weimer in the lineup every day for Von Joshua's squad, you're going to see a huge smile on his face from the offensive standpoint. Shoemaker, Haffey, Comer make up the heart of the order here tonight. Harris pushed down a little bit, still trying to get that bat going at 5 for 31. He's hitting 7th. Jonathan Brandt and Drew Thomas will round it out here today to face Ben McKendall. And then before we get to our Mammoths starting lineup, the home squad here today, our baseball buddies. This is going to be something we're going to do every broadcast, highlighting a local baseball team. Today, you have the Armada Tigers 10U tournament team. They won the 2020 Freaky Fast tournament at Jimmy John's Field on July 27th. So big time round of applause for the Armada Tigers and hello to them as well. Let's shift over to the home lineup brought to you by AAA as well. The Westside Woolly Mammoths here tonight. Leading off is the shortstop Garrett Keeper, starting to get it going on the top of the lineup for Paul Nickenbrugge as well. Batting second, the third baseman Webb Little. In the 3-hole is the second baseman Landon Barnes here today. Will Johnson, they're happy to have that bat right back in the heart of the lineup in an offense that needs some firepower. Sam Little, Isaiah Cullum make up the rest of the middle. Then Josh Wright, Jamal Howard, and Keandre Jones will round it out here today. And Josh Wright's a guy who's produced pretty well when he's been in there for this Mammoth squad. Creates some speed, good athlete out there, so maybe he'll be a tempo setter at the bottom of the lineup tonight.
Yeah, I think he's been one of their leading hitters when he's been in there, and I'm not going to sneeze at having the big first baseman Keandre at that 9 spot either. If it helps him get a few more good pitches being down in the order, he's going to run into a fastball now and again and hit it off the scoreboard for you.
Well, now time for Dan Griesbaum's junior keys to the game. What do you have today?
Well, for me, it's Garrett Chrisman. We saw him take the next step in his game the last time out. Starting pitcher again tonight for the Beavers. He's facing the Woolly Mammoths, who he faced the last time. He really did a nice job settling in. He started to fall in love with his changeup, but it was a terrific pitch for him in that game. It was actually became a swing and miss pitch for him in that game, which is not something that your changeup always does. It's more to get guys out front, maybe beat the ball into the ground a little bit. But we'll see if he can have that same consistency with the off-speed pitch, and if he can keep these guys off balance the same way he did the last time around. And I think he'll be the key to this one. On the other side, pitching-wise, Ben McKendall, winless on the season, but I don't think he deserves to be winless. He's been really pretty dependable overall, and I think he gives his club a chance to win more often than not, and I think he's maybe due for a big outing.
Look at those two pitchers' numbers when we get back in the pitcher comparison, brought to you by Denso as well. And get the opening pitch of this ball game here tonight. Should be another good pitching matchup, another tight one. Maybe some offense coming into play here today as two of the better lineups that you'll see coming at each other here tonight as well. Stick around for more here on the USPBL Network.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
The Chevy Trax from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers has a sporty, compact design that makes it the perfect SUV for everywhere you like to roll. Lease a 2020 Trax LT front-wheel drive for just $222 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, everyone, in Utica, Michigan. Another sun-soaked start to this game. Pretty still, as you see that flag nearly limped in right center field as it usually is. Let's check our Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan kid of the game. It's Jackson Salinas here today. His school, Gildan Woods, a young 3-year-old, looks like a Detroit fan as well. Favorite activity, playing sports. So that's cool to see out of that young fella. Hopefully we see him playing here at Jimmy John's Field one day as well. Tonight's game is presented by Budweiser. And also brought to you by these fine sponsors as well. AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, the Detroit Medical Center, DTE Energy, Denham Sports, Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Summit Oral, and of course United Shore. We thank all those fine partners for making our broadcast happen here tonight. Time to check your pitcher comparison, brought to you by Denso. We've already talked about these two guys a little bit, battled a week ago here today. One going 7 and the other going 6. So we are excited to see those guys, and we'll look at their numbers when we come back. First pitch after this between the Beavers and the Woolly Mammoths. Jeremy and Dan back with you. Got a good look at Ben McKendall here today. Take a look at the pitcher comparison brought to you by Denso. McKendall still looking for his first victory. Numbers don't necessarily reflect that, but 5.06 ERA elevated because of that one inning mostly.
Yeah, it's a little misleading. I mean, in that game, he darn near faced the minimum outside of that inning, didn't he?
Yep.
He's a guy that hasn't gotten many breaks, but he's struck out more than a batter per inning so far. He's not really walking a lot of guys. It's not the type of guy who's got a terrible batting average against or anything like that. He might be someone who's due to have a big night.
I'm looking forward to seeing him again. The 6-foot-tall, 210 right-handed pitcher out of Los Angeles, California. Fastball, slider, changeup, cutter. That cutter is brand new for Ben McKendall. Threw it in the bullpen a week ago. Thought he had a pretty good feel for it. It's something he's been working on for quite some time, and he pulled it out after that second inning, and it was very effective going forward.
I guess he's probably looking for another look, something to keep guys a little bit off balance. It might be a weapon against left-handed hitters potentially. Throw it in on their hands a little bit, something that maybe looks like his two-seamer out of his hand, but then instead of tailing away from the lefty, it's coming in on the lefty. So it could give him another look, another weapon.
At very similar velocities to his changeup, but the changeup goes down as opposed to the cutter trying to jam hitters inside, depending on what side of the plate you're hitting from. Freddie Geely to lead things off. It's Geely, Xavier Warren, Joey Weimer, your top three in the Beavers order, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. That's a heck of a top part of the order, isn't it?
Yeah, I would take that. I mean,
any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that's the kind of lineup that could be in first place.
'81 degrees here at game time. The first pitch of the ball game is launched at 7:04 for strike one. Take a look at the defensive alignment behind McKendall. You have Johnson in left, Howard in center, Sam Little in right, Webb at third, Keeber and Barnes up the middle, and Jones over at first, with Cullum completing the battery here tonight.
Speaking of that change, it looked like he just threw one there. Had Geely out front pretty good.
His changeup is his go-to pitch. Normally your fastball would be described as that, as he gets a swing and miss there at 81. But McKendall said, yeah, I'm going to throw that pitch in, fastball counts most of the time.
That's the only, well, I shouldn't say the only way it works, but that's the way it's most effective, is when the hitter's gearing up for the fastball and then it comes out of the hand looking like a fastball, and then all of a sudden you're way out in front of it.
He worked for years on making sure that arm slot and that arm motion looked the same. Here's a line drive to center field. Howard going back, and a nice catch over his shoulder as he stares into the sun.
Warren got a good rip on that one.
He's had some nice swings, knocked a nice double off the right center field padding there. Just, before that reaches a home run on that territory. Here's Joey Weimer. Inside at 78 with the slider.
You can see what Milwaukee liked about this kid. He's a thoroughbred out there. I mean, he can really run the bases. He's got some pop in his bat. He's going to swing and miss a little bit, but he's working on that.
1-0 is in there for strike one. off to a 5-for-9 start in the USPBL. Even delivery is outside with the change at 81. 2-1 on Joey Weimer, hitting third here today in Von Joshua's lineup. See those active high hands. How does that work for him? What's the benefit to him to holding those hands that high?
I think it's just a comfort level thing with a lot of guys. It gives him some leverage, and he feels like he can whip the bat through the zone a little bit. But ultimately, everybody hits from the same spot once their stride foot's down.
Low and away, he walked him. First walk of the USPBL career for Joey Weimer, and Austin Shoemaker batting fourth here today will look to keep this inning running.
Sure, our cameras will keep a close eye on Weimer over there.
Sure.
He's certainly prone to take a base now and again.
He's not had one.
I think that's coincidence. I think he'll definitely take one at some point.
Not disagreeing for sure, as knowing that Ben McKendall will throw over to first base.
Especially a two-out situation, you want to get into scoring position. Oh, I saw a little jab step there. We've been seeing very active leadoffs by and large this year.
Talked to Justin Orenduff on this air yesterday, and he talked about, they don't pay a lot of attention to runners as a pitching staff per se. Looking to develop a few other things at this point. Weimer bluffs, and there's a big swing and a miss by Shoemaker. 0-2 on Austin, but McKendall has a game plan that. And when you know a guy who's drafted for a big reason with his legs is out there, you want to pick him off, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially when he looks very active over there. Fake break on the last pitch.
Little pop fly. Keeber gonna leave it to Johnson, who collects the third out. So a two-out walk is the only damage here in the first inning against Ben McKendall. We'll check that lineup for the Woolly Mammoths when we get back once again here on the USPBL Network.
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not.
We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo!
Do it every day with the Unlimited Club, only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club. Join today, starting at just $21.99 a month.
Well, I have a happy birthday shout-out in order here tonight. Happy 11th birthday, Franco. Family members say they're so proud of him. Love Mom, Dad, and James. So happy 11th, Franco. Make it a good one. Eat some cake for us.
I like that name, Franco. Sounds like a ball player.
Yeah, maybe he is. If you're watching, let us know. What position does he play?
Definitely.
So here come the Woolly Mammoths here in the first inning. Garrett Keeber, Webb Little, and Landon Barnes. Your Zach Hart Agency three-men do up here in the first. And Will Johnson, Sam Little, and Isaiah Cullum in the middle. Josh Wright, Jamal Howard, and Keandre Jones will round things out here in the first. Keeber so far this year, 6 for 23, and it's 261. We've seen that trend upwards just a bit as Comer takes the brunt of that.
Well, not that batting average is everything in the world, because it's not, but out of everyone on the Mammoths with 20-something at-bats or more, he does have the highest average right now. That probably speaks more to why the Mammoths are struggling a little bit. But he has been, one of the bright spots. He's been getting on base more, especially of late.
One up high, Paul Lickenberger really likes his composure out there. Has a knack to put it in play. You want to improve his pitch selection a little bit as the season goes on.
Well, if he does, he'll be dangerous because he's already getting on base at nearly a 400 clip. So if he can get even more discipline, he's going to be a big asset.
And I feel like pitch selection is one of those things, for these guys who, again, are only, if you want to count the first 2 weeks of the season as quote-unquote spring training, as Justin Orndorff said yesterday, here's the 1-2 swing and a miss. I mean, that's something that comes with, 30, 40, 50 at-bats, right?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. It's going to take a while to really get comfortable in the batter's box and not jump at every breaking ball you see outside the zone, and it's going to come slowly but surely.
Garrett Chrisman, the 6'2", 205 right-handed pitcher, 24 years of age, getting his fourth start here tonight. Strike-to-walk ratio of 6-29. 2.70 ERA coming into tonight. That came up on Brandt. Made a nice play. Throw to first, and staying in the bag is Shoemaker.
Shoemaker's handled first base pretty well, in my opinion. It's not his number one position, but he handles it pretty well over there.
And I talked to him about that a couple days ago because you can definitely see some translatable skills in general between first and catcher. But when you're a catcher, that can help in some capacity because you're going to want to get in front of every ball for the most part.
Yeah, I would say the main difference is that catcher, you're generally not trying to make a clean pick of those balls. You're trying to smother those balls. And at first base, you really don't want to do that unless it's so far off the bag or if there's a man on third and you're just trying to do anything you can to stop it. For the most part, you're trying to clean pick those and get that out still.
We have seen on the ground balls, and he admitted to that as much, I mean, he'll body him up.
Yeah,
he'll chest it down to get it in front and stay there.
Right.
And not every first baseman's going to do that.
Sure.
Shoemaker, one of those guys on the taxi squad. Here's the 1-1. Outside to Landon Barnes. He's had a lot of spot rolls in the 2-hole for this Woolly Mammoth squad. They moved him down a little bit. There's some shifting going on with these lineups. 2-1 pitch is fouled off. I think the most comfortable manager, at least right now, and this could change, Weimer and Xavier Warren being inserted into Von Joshua's lineup the last 3-4 games helps.
Well, Sparky Anderson always says smart managers have good players. So, yeah, having those two guys at the 2 and 3, that'll settle that lineup down in a hurry.
Sticking the glove out there is Chrisman. He fields his position well and able to toss it easily over to first base there. So here's the thing. We cannot count this towards a record. Number one, you've seen the answer on mistake. But number two, he knows. So
well, I think the audience knows that I use this term.
What is the term for the dubious feat of striking out 4 times within a game? Enlighten everyone.
Yeah, definitely B, the golden sombrero. And I think you guys have heard me say golden sombrero on the air already. So I don't think that's a big surprise that I got that one right. But I can't say I know the exact genesis of that one. Maybe that's something we can look up at some point. I do know in the big leagues especially, some clubs will keep a sombrero on hand for when this situation occurs, and the next day when everyone gets to the ballpark, it wouldn't be uncommon for that player who struck out 4 times to get a sombrero in his locker as a little bit of a ribbing.
I'm sure he loves to see that.
Yeah, I mean, to me that would definitely get under my skin. But maybe if you wait till the next morning, maybe it's, you're over it at that point, hopefully. But I think the best players are the ones that can turn the page the fastest.
Well, Baseball Reference has an answer. We'll get to that in a second. If you want to wear the same thing that this Mammoth squad is wearing, whether it's the hat or the jersey or the hoodie, you can head right now to the merchandise store on the USPBL website. So certainly check out everything when it comes to USPBL gear. You got the hats, you got the jerseys, you got the long sleeve t-shirts and the hoodies and The short sleeves and the unicorns, that's probably a hot button.
Yeah. That white Mammoths hat that they got on tonight, that's a pretty sharp hit. I like that one.
So according to Baseball Reference, a golden sombrero comes from hockey's hat trick, 3 goals in a game. Thus, a batter who strikes out 3 times in a game is said to wear the sombrero. The word in Spanish refers to any type of hat, but in popular culture it is associated with the unwieldy, huge hats worn by stereotypical cartoon Mexicans.
So it's basically a dussied up version of the hat trick, they're trying to say, like a more a more graphic, obvious version of the hat trick.
More grand than a hat would be a sombrero that is gold.
Right.
It is awarded to any player who strikes out 4 times in a game. A platinum sombrero, how about that? 5 strikeouts, okay. Or a titanium sombrero for 6 strikeouts.
I don't know that I've seen. I don't recall seeing a platinum or titanium sombrero live.
So this is via baseballreference.com. I'm not making this all up. I just read verbatim to what Baseball Reference has.
Right, it's not Wikipedia. You would think Baseball Reference is probably a little more.
It says the king of the golden sombrero is Ryan Howard. As this one is fouled off with the end of the 2015 season, had 27 games with 4 more strikeouts in his career.
Which season was that?
2015.
Okay.
Well, he didn't have those. In his career, he had 27 games after the 2015 season.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he started. I think he had something of a rapid decline.
Here you go. In the most rare case of the platinum sombrero, the all-time leader is Sammy Sosa with 4. Only one other player, Ray Langford, has performed the dubious feat 3 times.
Okay.
Seriously, 0-2 to Johnson.
Well,
that's halfy, I beg your pardon.
Yeah. Well, you see the common denominator with all of those answers is that those guys were very good players. You know, it's not you're not going to be able to stay around very long if you have games like that unless you're generally pretty good. You know, Howard obviously a multi-time All-Star. Sammy Sosa had 600 home runs. Even Ray Langford, I think, was an All-Star a couple of times. So you can see how those are pretty good ball players generally.
Outside at 90 miles per hour to Cameron Comer. It's Comer and Harris, your Zach Hart agency. 2 men do next here in the 2nd inning. So far, so good for Ben McKendall. A 2-out walk. He was able to strand that easily with a line out to left. This one stroked to center. Howard, couple steps, looks up. There's out number 2.
McKendall kind of picking up where he left off. You know, he's been pretty efficient. Mixing his pitches well, throwing strikes.
So this is a guy that Vaughn Joshua has moved down in the order. He's been right in that 3 and 4 hole pretty much all season long. And we saw him get those couple stretches of games where he started to turn it on, hit a couple home runs, won a huge grand slam for this Beavers team. He checks in at 5 for 31 with 10 RBIs. Oh-1, tapped up the middle. Keeber, high hop. Not going to get him, though, and that airmails first base. Harris doesn't realize it, and luckily for the Mammoths, Cullum with a good backup.
Yeah, that ball played Keeber a little bit. It was a tough play, but he kind of sat back a little bit and ended up getting a really tough hop, and he came up with it, but it was tough to make that transfer over to the grip, and it was just a play that didn't go right from the beginning.
They have not put up hit or error, but I would assume error.
Definitely.
Jonathan Brandt made a pretty nice play at shortstop for the 2nd out of the bottom of the 1st inning as he strides in to look at strike 1. Drew Thomas, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the 2nd. Back in the lineup for the first time in a couple games. So you have contrasting parts of this lineup. Certainly the top 3, maybe you put even 4 or 5 are rolling right now. The other guys have potential, and Vaughn Joshua thought bringing them to this squad this year would deliver him a pretty good lineup. Haven't exactly performed the way he would like in all parts. But when you have a top 3 that reads Geely, Warren, and Weimer, you should be okay, unless those guys are intentionally walked every time, but that wouldn't be.
And I think if you have a 5, 6, 7 like Haffey, Comer, or Harris, that's going to, in the long run, bode pretty well for you also. I think those are some high ceiling guys there, and they might be streaky or slow starters, but I think they're going to get there eventually. Comer has swung it better lately for sure.
Swing and a miss at 89 is able to K Jonathan Brandt, his third of the game and second here in the second inning as well. So just a single base runner in each inning. It's a walk and an error thus far, and we'll see the heart of the order come up for the Westside Woolly Mammoths soon here. But first, you have your DTE Energy Kid race the mascot. It's Isaac going against Buzz.
Are they giving Buzz the head start deal again here?
They haven't done that completely the last couple days, so we'll see what they do today.
Might depend on how fast the young man looks. Maybe
could be
in the pregame trials. Do they do like trials like the Olympics?
Prelims,
okay. Yeah, looks like we're doing a head start today.
Buzz with that hat flapping wildly to second base. They're going to give Isaac the green light from behind, and Isaac is taking it slow at first, but I expect him to turn around in the third base bag here. Let's see. He's trying to give Buzz some kind of hope.
Buzz's strides leave a lot to be desired.
And Isaac is going to cruise in the end to the victory.
Oh, missed the plate. I don't know if that counts. I think we let that slide here at Jimmy John's Field.
I don't think Wooly saw it. He was the umpire in that situation.
Wooly's something of a bias umpire.
And let's send it to Chelsea Estes now on the field with Isaac.
All right, everyone, it's time for the USPBL reading program School of the Game presented by Hungry Howie's and CGC Water. Today's school is going to be Dryden Elementary in Dryden Community Schools. We want to give a special teacher spotlight to Miss White, who is their school principal. Congratulations, you guys. Well deserved. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Chelsea Estes back with us here tonight. She'll catch up with one of our managers in the fifth inning later on in the broadcast as well. Actually, the fourth inning. Now we've moved that up one inning to the middle of the game. Also catch up with our player of the game in the Auto Lab post-game show from the United Shore Media Desk. Heart of the order, Will Johnson, Sam Little, Isaiah Cullum coming up here in the bottom of inning number 2. Your Zach Hart agency, 3 men due up. First pitch to Will Johnson is off the plate outside, so his stats read 1 for 3. That's because he's literally only played 1 game so far for the Mammoths, but they're really glad to have this returner to the USPBL back.
He's got a nice reputation for being able to get on base. His 2019 season at Eastern Kentucky had a record 56 walks that season.
56 walks.
Basically one per game. Have to be a couple of things to do that. One, you have to have some plate discipline, but 2, you have to be a feared hitter, I think. You have to be someone that pitchers want to maybe nibble the plate a little bit on or pitch around to some degree.
His first game Wednesday, he's able to get himself an RBI as that's tapped slowly on the ground. He has some speed, so hurrying over there is Keebron. Just staying on the bag in time is Jones. Or check that. That's Branton Shoemaker, I beg your pardon. So an out to begin this inning for Garrett Chrisman. Had a snappy 1-2-3 inning.
He has a nice little run going.
Could we see a similar start last week like we had in Ty Hensley and A.J. Coleman? Ty Hensley got the better yesterday. That one in for strike 1 on Sam Little. Little 4 for 23 to start the year. Did have a pair of walks in the last game, scored a couple runs.
You know, it's funny with Chrisman, I believe he refers to his breaking pitch as a slider, but to me it looks just as much like a curveball. You know, it's got more of that downward breaking action to it, maybe more curveball-like than you would think with most sliders anyhow.
4-seam, 2-seam slider changeup is what he listed, but it does seem like that at times. Geely. He made so many plays last night. Touched the ball 8 times at his second base position in total, 7 assists and 2 putouts. 4 double plays on the year for number 1, and just 1 error.
It's always a good day when you're active, when you feel like you're moving around a lot out there. That's why I always love to catch, because you're in on every pitch. But it's sometimes the toughest job is to be an outfielder or a designated hitter or something. You spend a lot of time standing around.
Being in on every pitch, though, can snowball on you sometimes, right?
It can if you're having a bad day, I guess. Yeah, you got to be prepared and confident. Certainly, the ball always finds you when you're not confident.
So it's a different sort of mental capacity, I guess. Here's the 0-2 pitch outside. And I tell you what, every time a pitch comes out of these guys' hands, I lose it before it comes to home plate. That's what the Shadows are doing right now.
Well, imagine hitting.
1-2, swing and a miss. Not easy to see right now, and that's partly why Garrett Chrisman has back-to-back 1-2-3 innings and 2 strikeouts to his credit thus far. Still scoreless here on the USPBL Network.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and the roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people.
When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
Belfour was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
Well, there is Jim Essie and his squad yesterday with a big 12-4 victory. The Utica Unicorns over the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. 1 inning, did it all. It seems like that's been the story. 9-run, 4th inning of play. The bottom of the 4th saw 4 more runs come across the plate, so Von Joshua's squad didn't quite give up at that point, but Frankie Luska with one of the bigger blows, a 3-run homer to right that went 360+.
Limiting the big inning is just so vitally important in the game of baseball. You'd be surprised how many games occur where the winning team scored more runs in 1 inning than the losing team did in the entire game. That happens actually a majority of ball games in professional baseball. So limiting the big inning of vital importance. And a lot of that has to do with defense, not giving the team any extra outs. It has to do with pitching, throwing strikes, not giving any free passes.
We say hello to everyone watching on Facebook and YouTube here tonight. Sarah Klusterman says, player of the game, Wed Little. Final score, 5-2 Beavers. You can chime in on Facebook and YouTube with that before the 3rd inning, and you might just win yourself another USPBL prize here today. .10 is outside at 87. Is there anything you can do when you lose that ball coming out of the pitcher's hand?
It's really
hopeless?
This is just a really tough time of day, time of year for a few innings to deal with that shadow. I mean, there's been very important baseball games over the course of history that have started at odd times, and the shadows have played a big effect. I mean, Frank Tanana told me himself one of his most famous games, the final game of the season in 1989. It was a nationally televised game that started, I think, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock at Tiger Stadium, and the Shadows played a big part in that shutout for him against the Blue Jays that clinched the American League East for the Tigers.
And there you get a look at what Drew Thomas is dealing with right now. He's taken 3 balls and now taking it for a strike. There's also some of those Shadows reaching to the outfield, but those will progressively go away. They've already shifted a little bit as the game has commenced. 3-1 pitch popped him up. Barnes for out number 1.
I think one thing you can do approach-wise as a hitter is think more about going the other way. You know, that approach allows you to see the ball a little bit longer, swing a little bit later, and hopefully get a ball that's a little bit away from you and try to drive it to the opposite field. I think being on a ball, getting the head of the bat out front is really tough when you have this type of a vision situation.
It's one of the lone benefits to playing baseball in a dome, huh?
Definitely. There's not too many. I played some of the 8 scariest games of my life at the Metrodome in Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
I did. I've played the outfield in 2 of them, and I'll be honest with you. To some degree, I was praying the ball wasn't hit to me. I mean, the roof was one thing, the white roof, but they also had these low lights that if you got a liner, the ball would get into the lights, and it was very, very difficult.
Stuck in my mind is when that thing collapsed with that water. Did you see that video?
Yes, I did.
It's incredible stuff.
I didn't shed any tears when that Metrodome came down.
I don't think the Detroit Tigers did either.
No, absolutely not. I just spoke about Frank Tanana and that 1987 group that their hearts were broken at the Metrodome that year. Probably the favorites to win the World Series, and just got it handed to them at the Metrodome.
We talked about that 2009 game the other day on the air as well.
Yeah.
Played right there. 1 out. Here's the 1-2 to Freddie Geely, the top of the order. Bounced at 83. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. here tonight on the USPBL Network. Another really good day, 81 degrees at game time for a first pitch at 7:04. Now the 2-2 just cut a piece at 89.
It's a good spoil.
So these guys will top out around 91, both McKendall and Chrisman. I think you're lucky not to see a guy like Dazon Cold or Ty Hensley, although, you know, this is still running in there fast.
Sure.
2-2 is off the plate outside. What an eye by Geely as that one snapped at 79 on the exterior there.
You know, these guys have good changeups too, and I think that's going to be a very difficult pitch to see today. It's, you know, you kind of lose it for a while, and then you think it's there, and it's really not there yet.
Full count delivery, went through the thickets. Just able to get a piece of that as Geely struck out his first time out. McKendall so far has 3 Ks, 2 back in the second and 1 in the first. Coached a leadoff pop out to Drew Thomas after falling behind him 3-1. Geely able to extend the AB here. Both pitchers 24 pitches after the second inning.
Nice battle here from Geely.
He'll try the 3-2 again. Swing and a miss. 81.
It was a changeup again, wasn't
it?
Yeah, with 2 strikes, he's very comfortable going to that pitch. Chrisman too.
Talked about it earlier, how, you know, his changeup and cutter mimic each other velocity-wise, but you can tell that downward angle on the changeup. One and 0 here on Xavier Warren. He tagged a ball to left field his first time up in a line, but Johnson was there to make the catch. That one in for strike 1.
That was a nice pitcher's pitch there. You get a 1-0 pitch on the corner like that, you're not going to swing at that very often.
Uppercut at 82 for strike 2. His liner exited the bat at 100.9.
It looked it.
That hurts the hand, doesn't it? You got to make sure you kept that in the webbing.
Right. The scariest part of that is not the velocity, though. It's the thought in the outfielder's head that the thing could sail right over your head.
Right.
You know, it looks like it's at you, but a ball that's hit that hard oftentimes will have backspin, and it can carry right over your head, and then you've got that nightmare, helpless feeling of turning your back to all your teammates and running after the ball. You know, it's something that, whether you're in Little League or the pros, you don't want to have that feeling.
Here's the 1-2 high and away, and whether you're in left with a left-handed batter or in right with a right-handed batter, there's some extra slice, right?
There is. The conventional wisdom is that right field's a little bit tougher to play.
On the ground, second base side, Barnes is there for out number 3. Ben McKendall, the only blemish so far, a walk in the first, also reached on an error, had a runner reach on an error in the second, but here in the third, it's a 1-2-3 breeze. Pop out, strikeout, ground out. He had a couple battles. Drew Thomas to start the inning, Geely and Warren to ground out over at second base. Now time for JJ, the field general, brought to you by Michigan First Credit Union. With more on that, here's Chelsea Estes down on the field. Chelsea?
All right, it's time for JJ, the field general, presented by Michigan First Credit Union. This is the part of the game that I think is probably one of my favorites. JJ comes out of his little doghouse to give the umpire a nice cold towel and a nice bottle of water. And I'm telling you guys, Jeremy and Dan, I'm really trying to get JJ to bring us some water and a cold towel. Granted, it's starting to feel a little bit like fallout tonight, so we wouldn't need it tonight. But it's always fun to watch JJ interact with all the fans here at Jimmy John's Field, especially when he goes catches his frisbee. Let's look at him go. Ooh, did not get it, but it's okay. He gets them 99.9% of the time. He's such a good boy. All right, Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Back here in the press box, Jeremy out alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring you the call here tonight. Westside Woolly Mammoths have sent 6 to the plate, 6 right back to the dugout. First inning strikeout to Keeper, then the ground out by Webb Little. The ground out as well back to Chrisman by Landon Barnes, ended the first. The 6-3, the 4-3, and the strikeout was the line in the second inning. It's Wright, Howard, and Jones. Your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up here in the third inning, and both of these pitchers dueling each other here. On the ground, Shoemaker ranging off the bat, has to feed Chrisman over there, and that is for out number 1. Oh boy, flashbacks. You thinking about the same thing? That was much later.
You thinking Armando Galarraga?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Did I tell you my take on that play? Maybe we already talked about that.
I don't think so.
Okay. My take was that I wish Cabrera just didn't go after the ball, because I'm failing to remember who the second baseman was, but I recall the second baseman would have got to the ball, and then you've got a much easier play, second baseman to first baseman, than you do Cabrera to the pitcher. He was out, no matter what. Regardless, he was out. But a 4-3 would have been an easy call for Jim Joyce.
And actually, it looks like there is a hit on the board, so they ruled that ball to Keeper a hit back in the second inning.
Really? Okay. It's a tough play. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that official ruling, but it was a tough play. I think Keeper would like to have that ball back. He's, I think going to make that play the majority of the time.
So a hit and a walk so far against Ben McKendall. But still, great outing for him thus far through 3, and Garrett Chrisman trying to cruise through 3 right here. First pitch strike again at 88 in the black.
Our official scorer here must be a shortstop from back in the day.
He's never giving a shortstop an error. Just like if you're a former catcher and official score, you'll never get him a pass ball. This
Right.
one up the middle, and there's your first base hit. For the Mammoths here in the third inning. So no more no-hitters to talk about or perfect games in the instance of Garrett Christman just through 2 2/3. Back to the top of the order, it's Garrett Kieber coming up, the aforementioned. He struck out back in the first inning. Lisa German McKendall on Facebook says, shout out to John and Diane Matthews from California, the best host parents in the universe. This one is on the corner for strike one.
It's a neat little bond that's formed between the host family and the actual family, as I've noticed. I've seen several instances of that. It seems like a fun relationship.
Create some additional fans certainly here at the USPB. I'm not sure how they pick them, but I'm sure some of them are fans anyway.
I'm sure.
Runner moving, the 0-1, perfect pitch to throw, and it's off target. Geely, did he get him anyway? He did at second base. Wow! Little swipe tag from behind, and Freddie Geely, boy, is he flashing the leather these past couple days.
That was a hose from Comer, too.
Back with more after this.
With Equinox from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the sky isn't the limit. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At FSBCares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBCares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
There's Ben McKendall. He's giving up a hit and a walk, but that's it so far. Strikeout in the third, 2 strikeouts in the second, and a strikeout in inning number 1. And you expected him to come out guns a-blazing here today. And I mean, one reason why that ERA is elevated at nearly 5 is because of the 5 runs, 3 walks, 3 hits, and capped off by the 2-run home run by Geely in that 1 inning on July 25th a week ago. But he kind of reeled things back in and went 6 in the end.
Yeah, he did. He finished out that game because the Beavers were the home squad and they won the game. So it was basically a complete game in a loss. But yeah, he really settled in well. He was very efficient those other innings. Obviously, he figured something out there, and if his club can get him some runs, he certainly has a shot to win this one.
And something they are specifically working with Ben McKendall on with his delivery is looking at his head. He's kind of leaks his head forward at times, and that's something with the DVS that they have noticed. And they thought particularly in that second inning that that's something he did. And Paul Nickenbrugge said he got a little lazy out there with some of his mechanics, and that was sharpened up.
Yeah, it's really a skill to be able to identify it that quickly, too, when you can, whether it's the pitcher identifying it himself or if it's his manager or if it's, someone else on the support staff, if they can identify it that quickly and make that correction by the next time out for the next inning, that's a huge advantage.
Well, identifying it and putting it into action is 2 different things, too, entirely.
But you have no chance of putting it into action without identifying it.
Correct.
A lot of times you can't even begin to notice something like that until you review the videotape after the game, and then you say, oh, yeah, I can see what I did there.
Here's a 0-2. Maybe a purpose pitch outside at 83. It was fun to catch up with this 6-foot-tall, 210-pound right-hander earlier today. He really is. I mean, we knew this, but hearing him describe it, he's a baseball journeyman, and he's only 25 years old. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Just off the corner for ball 2. I mean,
Everything's relative, right?
Sure. 4 independent leagues, the Pecos, the American Association here in the USPBL, and the Frontier League as well. He went back to the Pecos League for 2 starts. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the ground to Keeber. Quick exchange for out number 1.
Nice job there by Keeber. This guy is not an easy out no matter what. You've got to get rid of that ball quickly, even on a routine ground ball to short.
And we know that Ben McKendall was here last year, and his first time around, right around spring training, he was actually cut in the first round. He thought at first that he might be one of the starting pitchers for the Mammoths. Kept in touch with Justin Orenduff, actually went back to the Pecos for 2 starts in Roswell, showed that his velocity was up again, and he was pitching to where they wanted him to be. And then Justin said, yep, you're good. He came to the summer showcase, struck out 10, and the rest is history as he's here for his first full season as a Westside Woolly Mammoth here this year.
Justin really credits him with sparking the Mammoths too. You know, when he came back over, he doesn't think they would have got to the championship game without him, certainly.
Swing and a miss by Shoemaker, 0-2 on him now. He's also pitched in Australia the last couple of years. Actually met his girlfriend over there.
Is that how we picked up our fan in Australia the other day?
Could be.
Could be. Didn't think about that.
0-2, hot shot line drive that's going to dribble down the right field line and at least lead to 1. Shoemaker strong turn. Little going to get this one in, but sliding down to second base is Austin. He has the second hit of the ball game for the Beavers here in the 4th.
Went in on his landing gear there into second base. It was a little bit of a rough slide, but turned on that ball nicely. Gives his club a chance to take the lead now.
And people have told McKendall, because he's doubling up seasons here to some extent, because the Australian season is a little bit different. They said, stop pitching so many innings. But he said, no, you know, I like to work through things. I feel that my arm is fine. Threw 116 pitches his first year in Australia, or innings, I should say, 96 innings his second year. One of his goals would be to play professionally over there.
Okay. Well, I can assure you, in 2020, there won't be very many pitchers complaining about how many innings they pitched. You know, as far as it being too many. You know,
Very true.
If he can get his innings up there a little bit this year, he'll be ahead of the game.
Now the 1-0. Popped him up. Barnes is calling for it. Keeper actually calls him off. That for the second out. Here comes Cameron Comer. He was bailed out of sorts thanks to the athletic play by Freddie Geely. Taking the ball in front of the second base bag. Slapping the tag on from behind in kind of a spinning motion.
It was a very hard tag, but Comer did put the ball pretty much where he needed it. You know, it was a play that came together really quickly, and Geely had a long way to run to get to that and did a great job putting the tag down, but Comer threw that ball right where it needed to be.
Now 2 for 4 in throwing runners out this year is Comer, as he looks at a ball outside, flew out to center field his first time up. That was a part of a 4-batter inning in the second. McKendall has not faced more than 4. He's done that twice. And now 3 times. As Comer is number 4. Romero Harris would be 5th. Your Zach Hart agency man on deck. Line drive, that is going to get foul. That's Austin Shoemaker down at second base. He roped a double down the right field line to get things kicking with 1 out here in the 4th before the pop out by Haffey. A long look for McKendall. He readies the 1-1. Swing and a miss at 89 with the fastball.
He's pretty consistent with his fastball velocity. There's a lot of 89s in there.
He'd like to get to a point where he's consistently 91, 92. He tops out about 91 currently. But those little tweaks that the DVS picks up / just the human eye can give you 1 or 2 more miles per hour.
Yep.
Sometimes even more than that. 1-2, little liner to left field, sending Johnson back. Slicing to the line, dives and makes the catch out in left field. Johnson able to rob Comer of a 2-out, probably 2-base hit down the left field line. The defense flashing the leather in the 4th.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Catch the Chevy Malibu at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Lease a 2020 Malibu 1LT for just $288 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
A lot of love for the host families on the Facebook chat. Melissa Schmidt says hosting Garrett was the best summer of our lives. Getting a lot of likes on some of these comments on Facebook as well. I tell you what, the most engaged comment, though, that I've seen was your comment yesterday when you said, where was all this Godfather trivia when I was here?
That's right. Of all the games for me to miss, I did not want to miss Godfather Night. That's probably my all-time favorite movie. So there's a question in there about Johnny Fontaine and Frank Sinatra. Sinatra's another one of my favorites.
Garrett Keeper, Webb Little, and Landon Barnes. Your Zach Hart Agency 3-men due up to start the bottom of the 4th inning here for the home squad here tonight. And Garrett Crispin has been rolling. We saw the first base hit against him with 2 outs in the 3rd. And Keandre Jones was caught stealing. First time that's happened this year. It was 2 for 2 coming into the game.
How are you with Godfather trivia?
I've never seen it.
Oh, no. I thought when we talked about swingers, I thought that was bad enough, not seeing The Godfather.
I have not seen it.
Oh, man.
Are we going to have a screening in Grosse Pointe or what?
Sure. I mean, we may need to give you an off day just for the purpose of seeing it.
Here's the first pitch to Keeper in there for strike 1.
Do you have a certain genre of movies that you generally gravitate to? Sports, I assume, is one.
Sports. Yeah. Comedies, this one on the ground third base side. Warren trying to scoop it, and Brandt with the diving attempt. That one's going to spark into left field. I like some sci-fi.
Oh, really? Okay, because that's probably the one I'm the weakest on.
Are you?
Is sci-fi, yeah.
Okay. It's a big Jurassic Park guy growing up.
Yeah, my 9-year-old just asked about seeing that. He hasn't, obviously it was before his time, but
right.
Has heard about it and wants to see it.
The Jurassic Worlds does not do it justice, let me tell you that.
No? Okay.
Even just from a CGI standpoint, I'm a CGI hater sometimes.
Okay.
Here's the first pitch to Webb Little. On the ground, up the middle, kind of staying near that second base bag, and it's going to float into center field. I just don't think some of that looks as good as some of the natural effects that they created, especially in a movie like that.
Did you see The Irishman by chance?
I didn't.
Netflix? Okay, so it's not obviously not sci-fi, but just from a tech standpoint, they had the main characters, De Niro and Pesci and Pacino. They had them play a part that had flashback scenes, and it ranged, you know, probably a 40-year range from beginning to end, and they used special effects to make them younger and older, you know, throughout the movie, and it was very impressive the way that they did that. Allowed, you know, those famous, very good actors to play the part that would normally be handled by multiple actors, probably.
Sure. Landon Barnes with a big swing and a miss here. Barnes 5 for 25 to start the year. Has scored a couple runs. Making contact, though. Not a whole lot of strikeouts. No walks to 4 Ks coming into tonight. 0-1. Good smothering block there by Comer.
Yeah, I don't know that Barnes is going to be a stereotypical 3-man in the batting order ever. You know, he's probably more of either a 2 guy or a bottom of the order type guy, contact hitter. But Mammoths are trying anything to get this offense going. You know, you've got to try some new things. Off to a good start this inning. We're not going to see a lot of sacrifice bunts, but this would normally be a time for one, possibly, to try to force the issue a little bit.
The 1-1 pitch is pop foul, and you talk to Paul Nickenbrugge, and he's a little frustrated about their situational hitting. And that doesn't always, I mean, you think bunt when you say that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that.
No.
I mean, you have runners on first and third. A guy strikes out when he could hit a ground ball to second base. That's situational hitting.
Sure.
So that's something they worked on quite a bit in practice at the beginning part of this week. They are starting to have a few practices here, limited though, with the COVID protocol. 1-2 is outside, 2-2 now.
We'll see if that could be a setup for the changeup here. The changeup's really his payoff pitch, his go-to in a 2-2 type situation like this when he needs a strikeout. See if he decides to bring it here.
Checks the runner at second base. That's going to flub its way into the diving glove of Thomas in left field. Wow.
It's a great catch. He bailed him out of a bad pitch there. He did bring the changeup, but he left it up. It wasn't the location that he wanted. Barnes was able to get a decent swing at it, and that was a ball that's a base hit a lot of the time.
Well, that's what you want to see, though. Drew Thomas off to a 2 for 19 start at the plate this year, but he's not taking it over to his defense as he collects a huge, and I mean huge, out number 1, because if that drops in, maybe the run scores, but for sure it's bases loaded with no outs.
Yeah, he needed that out big time.
Well, Johnson 0 for 1 today as that one filters its way outside. We talked about Johnson earlier. It's a guy they like.
Speaking of diving catches.
And a really nice one in left field. His manager raves about his defense. He thinks it's an underrated part of his game.
Well, he showed some offense last year in the USPBL. Slash line of 276, 381, 396. You know, that's a better than average on base percentage, you know, about an average slugging percentage. So he showed that he could hit his, you know, first pro ball experience.
1-1 framed in there at 77 for strike 2. Looked like the slider. It's a big pitch right here. Stepping off is Chrisman as he takes a look at Garrett Kieber. He's got some speed in and himself. 3 for 4.
If you're going to try something drastic, it wouldn't be a bad time for a double steal. You've got a couple of guys out there who can run a little bit. This is a situation that could induce an off-speed pitch. It might be a tough play for Comer, potentially.
You think he verbally told the sign to Chrisman?
It's possible, very possible.
Here's the 1-2. Ground ball up the middle. Shortstop Brandt ranging over. Feeds to Geely in time. No chance to get Johnson over at first, but nonetheless he kept it in the infield, number 1. The runner does advance to third base and Kieber, but that's the second out. Sam Little, the last shot here. They're working on getting his swing a little bit more level. Because when he's going right, he's a gap-to-gap guy. Wanting to be a little bit more aggressive as well. Looks at strike one. What does aggressive in a smart sense mean at the plate, you think?
I think it's, for instance, just speaking of this situation, chance to drive in a run early in the count, you want to look for a certain pitch, and if you get it, pull the trigger and don't miss it.
On the ground to Geely. Rode up on him a little bit, but was able to adjust in the end. And a great job by Garrett Crispin to strand first and second with no outs to begin this inning here today. Pitchers duel at Jimmy John's Field. We're scoreless.
From the very get-go in your major, you are doing things involved with your major. And they really do a good job with finding professors that not only know what they're talking about, but know how to teach what they're talking about.
Here, the professor cares about your success and is willing to work for it with you.
You get the intensive care from each professor. You get the interactions with different students both in and outside of your major.
There's always something happening on campus. There's always something to do. Go visit campus and really experience everything that campus has to offer. Once you do that, it makes up your mind for you.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Nothing game here in Utica, Michigan. Ben McKendall and Garrett Crispin have it going. Down to the field to Chelsea Estes. Chelsea?
All right, I'm here with Vaughn Joshua, who is the manager of the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. But last season, you were the assistant manager for the Eastside Diamond Hoppers, but now you're a manager of the Beavers. So how has that transition for you? Has there been any challenges with these new players and all the situations that we've been facing? So what have been some challenges that you faced?
No, not really, Chelsea. I've managed before, so I managed in the winter this year. That's what happened. The guy who was supposed to manage this team, he got picked up by St. Louis. I was supposed to be the hitting coordinator for the whole league, and then they asked me what I managed to. I said, "Oh, okay," but it's challenging. We're not putting any hits together right now, but I'm pretty laid back, and I just kind of let the guys play, and hopefully they'll start putting some hits together.
Hope so. Maybe I can, join you on the team. All right, let's talk real quick. Garrett Crispin, second-year player for the Beavers. He had his best start as a Beaver last time he faced the Mammoths with a 7-inning shutout. He's doing fantastic tonight. What's his value add to your rotation?
I'm sorry.
Garrett Crispin.
Oh, sorry. I went. It's
the mask.
Yeah, I have a little hard hearing. No, he's doing great. He's been pitching outstanding for us. He went 7 innings last time out for us. So he's been our best pitcher by far. He's just he's kept us in the games, and he got a couple of guys on base and he wiggles out of it. So yeah, he's done a very, very good job for us.
And let's take a look at him. Or next inning, I'll let you get back to your spot.
Okay, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Romero Harris to lead off this 5th inning. Keeper's been busy today.
That was an example of a ball that he played really well. There was that ball earlier in the game that he kind of let play him a little bit, but that was just perfect footwork. He had his momentum going toward first base when he kind of stepped into it. Just a nice, clean play.
Mike Sparling on Facebook says, so great to have baseball in our backyard on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, Andy, Dana, and the USPBL. And Jeremiah Hergot add to that list as well. Here's a swing and a miss to Jonathan Brantz.
I saw a couple examples from people this week where they had a couple of monitors or a couple of TVs set up in the backyard or in their family room or something, had maybe a big league game on one TV and ours on the other one. I, of course, suggested to them that they use the audio from us, of course.
This one outside 1-1. I really like to just kind of put the speakers on in the backyard and blare some baseball on a nice night. This one outside to Jonathan Brandt.
Still the game that works the best on the radio out of all of them, don't you think?
I think so. It's the easiest one to follow, no doubt.
Sure.
2-1 is popped up down the first base line. Jones along with Barnes, but there's so much territory out there that that's tough to get to.
Nice effort by Barnes there, especially.
Yeah, especially for a second baseman going from his angle and
long way to go.
All the way near that second base bag. And there's some fine fans sitting in the cabana suites there, huh?
Oh, yeah. I love those.
They got the fans on top, so on a hot day, that can cool you off.
Yep. A normal season where you start in May, they have the fire pits in there also in case
Yeah.
you get a cool night.
2-2 is fouled back. There's a young man, looks like a ball player himself, who got the foul ball.
Be playing catch with that one tomorrow.
You don't happen to have one of those fire tables, do you?
I don't, no.
I've considered it. It's kind of a unique idea. Here's a 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Drew Thomas.
Made an impact with his glove. See what he can do with his bat here. See if he can get this club rolling.
Yeah, nice diving catch and left. That was with runners on first and second and no outs. First pitch to Thomas, breaking ball at 81.
Yeah, we talked about how we're not going to see much bunting, and nothing wrong with that. But when you're scuffling a little bit offensively like Thomas is, I think bunting for a hit's not such a bad idea.
90 miles per hour hits the corner, but a good eye there by Thomas. 1 walk, 7 Ks so far for Drew. Has had trouble catching up to the fastball so far this season. Level playing field in terms of the shadows. Those are completely covering the infield now on most of left field.
Yeah, we may start to see some better swings partially as a result of that.
Here's the 1-2. That's a tough pitch to fight off at 81. He did.
It was a good spoil.
Looks like that changeup. That acts like a breaking ball half the time.
It does. It's got good action on it.
Good compliment to the slider. Cutter, fastball, slider, changeup. Haven't seen the cutter a ton today, I don't believe. Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Another one. Fought it off inside, and that's a 1-2-3 breeze here for Ben McKendall in the 5th inning. His second 1-2-3 frame of the game on the US PBL Network.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Senior Spotlight brought to you by Michigan School and Government Credit Union. Today we want to offer a big congratulations to Katie Grace Taylor, who attended Chippewa Valley High School. Katie loves to sing, especially the national anthem here at Jimmy John's Field. She has a spunky personality and her smile lights up a room. Katie will be attending college in New York for musical theater. Congratulations, Katie, and all the other deserving seniors out there. Job well done. Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you to everyone for participating in the Shake It Off dance.
Back out there is Garrett Chrisman. Good inning by Ben McKendall after they allowed the one-out double back in the 4th. He has since answered and retired 5 in a row. 6, 7, 8. Your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up in the 5th. It's Cullum Wright and Jamal Howard. That one sparks outside. Cullum today a strikeout swinging back in the 2nd. Pops that one up. Comer going to give chase along with Shoemaker. Shoemaker has made some nice plays over at first base. Heads over to the United Shore Media Desk down the first base line. Chelsea Estes will be camped down there to interview our player of the game. There she is. She didn't bring her glove to the ballpark here tonight. 1-1 again fouled off.
Well, looking ahead to Chelsea's interview maybe at the end of the game, certainly 2 player of the game candidates right now, both of these starting pitchers.
Seems like night in, night out, that's always a possibility. Crispin wanted that call. Pitch at 80 miles per hour, low and in. Here's the 2-2. Just missed the corner. Three and 2 on Isaiah Cullum. Just 8 at bats so far for him so far this year. He's 2 for 8. That one floats low and away at 77, so a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning. It's the 2nd inning in a row where the leadoff man has reached. It was 1st and 2nd back in the 4th before the line out and the fielder's choice and the ground out. So Crispin did a beautiful job of weaving out of the potential damage. Josh Wright, the designated hitter here tonight, is back in another lineup. This time for the Mammoths. Played for 3 teams. 27 at bats so far. 28 after tonight, actually. 6 for 28 in total.
He's got one of your higher strikeout rates on the season among the guys that we've seen, and that's going to happen. But for someone who runs as well as him, and for someone who gets out of the box as quick as he does, you hate to see him strike out so much. He could get a few more base hits with his legs just by hitting the ball on the ground somewhere.
1-1 is popped up. Foul.
This is a prime example here. You know, he's got a couple of strikes on him.
There's the zeros. Great job by these pitchers so far here tonight. Now the 1-2 on the ground, second base side. Geely tags him, throw over to first. My goodness. A defensive clinic for Freddie Geely again on back-to-back nights.
A nice job by Geely there, but in my opinion, the base runner has to do something to avoid running into that tag. Even if Cullum stops or backs up or falls on the ground, he's got to do something to give Wright just a little bit more time to get to first base. With as quick as he gets out of the box, he shouldn't get doubled up too much as long as you don't run into a tag like that.
No panic on the throw over to first base. Knew that he had to get it over there pretty quickly with Wright running, all things considered. Did a good job. Second night in a row we've seen a play like that. I can't remember if it was Geely last night, but it was another speedy guy running down the line. Off speed at 82, caught him out in front.
It's something you got to think about as a base runner when you're at first base. If there's depending on where the second baseman's playing, you got to be able to tell yourself, if he gets the ball in front of me, I can't run into a tag here.
Back to the fastball outside. Jamal Howard struck out looking back in the second inning. Crispin on a mission. He strikes out another batter here in the fifth inning. Faces the minimum, a walk, but then the 4-3 double play, and the strikeout ends the threat. Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field in Utica, Michigan. Jeremy Otto back alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring the call here tonight, 0-0. It's a big game for all these teams, really, as the season goes on. For the Mammoths, they're looking to get it going. A lot of clogged nature at the top of the standings for all three of those teams. Talked to Paul Nickenbrugge before the game about this team's run in the playoffs and down the stretch the last couple of years, and he attributes a lot of their improved play to the demanding and deliberate practices that they're able to put together, which right now really isn't a thing. I mean, they've gotten to practice a little bit, still not as much as they would like, but
normally in a league like this, you'd be able to grab a high school field somewhere in the neighborhood and just get a practice in on an off day, and it can be something thrown together last second, but there's not really any last second throw togethers this year. You know, you have to have a secure facility, a clean facility, and everything needs to be scheduled. It's not quite the same environment that we're all used to.
Freddie Geely, uncharacteristic 2 strikeouts to begin this game, pops this one up. Webb Little and Kieber going after it. Kieber calls Little off for the first out here. That's 6 in a row, going back to the 4th inning now for Ben McKendall, retired.
By the way, we got an answer on our buddy Franco from the beginning of the ball game. He's a catcher, and he has 6 homers on the year.
6 homers for Franco.
Yeah,
you gotta be
not
kidding
too
me.
bad.
The 11-year-old showing some pop.
Gotta love a catcher with some pop in his bat.
First pitch to Xavier Warren is high and outside. So one of the unique things about both of these 2 pitchers, they were both very good infielders at some point in their career. Ben McKendall came into college as the starting third baseman at the JUCO level, as this one is outside for a 2-0 pitch. So starting third baseman, also pitched some. He said, I had the worst game of my life at third base. My first collegiate start, 3 errors out there. My coach took me aside and said, son, you're a pitcher only. Here's the 2-0 pitch. This one is inside. He thought he was a pretty good hitter. He thought at, when it came to the college level, it didn't carry over as much. But if it was still, his strong suit, he said, I'd love to still be playing shortstop or third base at this point. The 3-0 is inside for ball 4.
He didn't miss by much on those last 2. He would have loved to. He would have loved to have either of those.
2 walks for the Beavers in this game. Ben McKendall has looked really sharp.
See if the Beavers try to manufacture a run here. Got to do something to get this going, get a run on the board. Got a guy who can run on first base. You've got a guy who can run at the plate.
81, the changeup to start this at bat, and he'll do that. That's his go-to pitch. Ever since sophomore year in college, he's had a great feel for that changeup coming out of the same angle and same arm speed. Is that something on, those catcher visits that we see throughout the game that a catcher will pop up and say, hey, look, your curveball, you can tell right now. Is that something the pitcher knows all the time, or is that something the catcher sometimes picks up?
Oh, I think it's definitely something the catcher could pick up. The pitcher's thinking about his mechanics, and he's thinking about where he wants to throw it and things of that nature, and he doesn't really have the best view of his pitch, so to speak. The best view is the hitter and the catcher. And the hitter's certainly not going to tell him, so he needs the catcher for that.
Chopper over to third, Webb Little strong feet, Barnes over to first, and Weimer is saved on the fielder's choice.
You're not going to double him up too often, I don't think.
Austin Shoemaker, 1 for 2 here today, had a double back in the 4th inning, lined out to left in the first.
He hits that same ball here, it's going to be an RBI because Weimer can get around the bags.
Linda Boyd Christman says Indiana is rooting for the Beavers. Terry King says, let's go Beavers. Arizona is rooting for you. So that's where that came from.
Oh, okay.
They got the whole state on board. How about that? Ooh, a little drag bunt on the third base line.
Shoemaker is probably the most apt to do that of anyone that we've seen in this league so far.
Got that sly smile. He said, yeah, I almost got you guys.
He tried to be a little too perfect on that one.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I'd rather see that as a coach. I'd rather see someone try to be too perfect toward the line with something like that than to bunt for a hit and bunt it back to the pitcher. That's the last thing you want to do. You'd rather have a foul ball and live for the next pitch.
Shoemaker's reach base is the only one in the 4 through 6 spot of the order who's done that. See that secondary lead by Weimer over at first?
Yeah, he'll do that fake break every now and again, which where that pays off for you is the first baseman or the catcher may see that fake break and think it's a fake break, but he's actually stealing, as he is now.
In motion down to second base, and Barnes able to field it. Joey Weimer still without a stolen base in the USPBL. It'll come. It'll come.
Last year, Belfour did 114,000 different jobs around the world. We've been to floods, fires, tornado sites, earthquakes, where people have lost everything. Yes, your homes can be rebuilt, and yes, your businesses will be rebuilt, but most importantly, your lives will be rebuilt. There's nothing that we cannot fix, and we believe that.
It's our pictures.
To me, that's Belfour. At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
Our upcoming games brought to you by Motor City Casino Hotel. Goatsees and Greg Shanahan. The two scheduled tomorrow in the double dip between the Unicorns and the Hoppers. And we'll have Comitas and Wayman on Sunday. And then a Tuesday game. We'll come at you Tuesday through Sunday next week here in the USPBL. I think for back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, that's actually a reminder for me. I forgot about that myself.
We put it on the calendar and get that reminder on. We can't have you not showing up.
Yeah. I'd like to think I would have remembered by Tuesday, but maybe.
You're close enough where somebody's not here 2 hours before. I'll give you a ring.
Yeah, right.
You're much closer than my 15-minute drive to the ballpark.
That's true. That's true.
Although, what is it, 25-ish?
Yeah, you know, there hasn't been, knock on wood, the last several months there hasn't been much in the way of traffic, so.
That's the great thing, isn't it?
It is.
I'm dreading the day when that comes back, especially from my area.
Although I guess I'll welcome the reason it comes back, you know, if that means that business is back up and booming and running again.
Absolutely.
And that everybody's healthy. And
Keandre Jones, Garrett Kieber, Webb Little, your Zach Hart agency, 3 men to bat here, and there's a long bunt on the first baseline.
Now, I would not have expected Dre Jones to drop down a bunt, but this is, let's try anything here at this point. Nothing game, bottom of the 6th. Although he can untie it real quick with his bat, too.
What's your thoughts of breaking up a no-hitter with a bunt?
I am not into that at all unless it's I'm okay with it, though, if it's still a tie game or something like that. You know, I think all bets are off in that kind of a situation.
We were faced with that early on. Chrisman actually had a perfect game through 2 2/3 as that one rides outside, which in a 7-inning contest, I guess, is something you have to pay attention to.
Oh, sure.
No runs off 2 hits and no errors for the Beavers. No runs, 3 hits, no errors on the other side. Swing and a miss. So Chrisman in his last start, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 11 Ks. Versus very Mammoth squad. Just hit his spot there at 89 off the plate.
He wanted that one.
Garrett Kieber would follow. He's 1 for 2 today with a single back in the 4th. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. 81-mile-per-hour changeup got him.
That's his go-to pitch with 2 strikes. It has been for at least a couple games now with a lot of confidence, and he's throwing it where he wants.
Top of the order today between Keeber and Webb Little combined 2 for 4, both of them singles. Keeber actually reached third base. It was Keeber and Little who started the 4th inning with singles, but great job by Crispin to weave out of that without much trouble. Line out, fielder's choice, got another out at second base, and then the ground out to Freddie Geely to end the inning in the end. 1-0 in there for strike 1. Dazon Cole tuning up for the Mammoths here. Second consecutive game for them that he is a Mammoth.
Be interesting to see if he comes in for the 7th no matter what, or if he just comes in for the 7th if they manage a run here and get a lead. More of a closing role.
2-1 high and away at 89. There's the flamethrower. Easy gas at 94, 95 pretty consistently for that man. 3-1 on the ground. Shortstop side. Sliding attempt by Brandt. Can't get it.
Brandt would like to have that one back. He stopped a little bit short of it. He slid to his right, kind of feet first. I think he would have gone about that differently if he had a chance to do it again.
4th hit on the board now for the Mammoths as they have 1 or 2 more now, and their opponents on the other side. Webb Little will love a big hit in this situation. Man on with 1 out. Popped him up.
Took a good swing, just got under that a little too much.
It's Weimer in for the 2nd out. And Landon Barnes all of a sudden the last shot here. 0 for 2 today, line out to left. And the diving play by Thomas, that was a potentially game-changing dive because either the run scores, and probably not on the looping hit as you kind of have to stay true at second base,
right.
But more importantly, that means no bases loaded with no outs.
Right. Yeah, the percentage chance of scoring would have gone way up there.
And for a guy who doesn't throw 95, 96, that's sometimes tough to navigate.
Right.
Now, was a run in that situation the end of the game? No, but maybe today.
It could have been a big step toward the end of the game. See if Keeber tries to take a bag here at some point. He may try to pick a good count to go.
3 for 4 on swipes this year. 0-2 quickly on Landon Barnes. Everybody at normal depth with that runner on first base and 2 outs. Geely a little bit closer to the second base back. He'll cover with the righty at the dish. Man is moving, and Keeber able to swipe that back. Another TCF Bank stolen base here in the 6th inning.
He did pick the right ball to go on, too. It was a tough pitch for Comer to handle and cruised right into second.
Even if Comer picks that quickly, he probably has no shot.
That really changes the outlook now. The 1-2 count on the hitter. All he needs to do is think about going the other way, just trying to get a base hit. Any kind of base hit probably scores him. Just stay within yourself and try to make contact here.
Crispin didn't like something there, so he stepped off real quick. The Butler product, 24 years old. Here's the 1-2, just fouled off. He retired 15 in a row to end that game and close it out, allowing just 2 hits, striking out 11. 6 walks to 29 Ks coming into today. Has scattered 4 hits, 1 here in the 6th. 2 back in the 4th and 1 in the 3rd. That one in the 3rd was to end his perfect game early on. Low and away with the fastball. Garrett Kieber stands at second base. He swiped his 4th bag of the year. Would love to score the go-ahead run. His 6th of the year if he can cross the plate. 2-2. Good block by Comer. He's had some textbooks. Just drop the glove and squeeze it.
It's a lot to think about back there.
He struggled early on. He's had 7 pass balls on the year. About 4 of those were in one game, but has since settled in quite nicely to that catching role here for Von Joshua's squad.
Early in the year, some of that can be attributed to not really knowing your pitchers yet, too. You don't know how their ball moves, and you don't know how their breaking ball moves. That'll smooth out as the year goes on, certainly.
He walked him. So runners on first and second, and one of the best hitters on the Mammoths stepping to the plate, and Will Johnson.
He had an open base there, so I think he was, he was willing to try to get him to chase, although I don't think I would rather face Will Johnson than Barnes. So, not sure if that will prove to be a wise approach or not, but that'll be up to Will Johnson, I guess.
First pitch to Will is on the corner for strike 1. 4 home runs, 4 doubles last year. He had 276 through 37 games with the Mammoths. Out in front of that changeup.
Left that a little bit up, but he got away with it.
Hit 25 bombs in 2 years with Eastern Kentucky. 0-2 fouled away. 9 home runs in 2018 and 16 of them in 2019 with 13 doubles and 3 triples to add to that. A slugging of .593.
That combined with the walks, it's a pretty productive guy to have at the plate.
Transferred from Georgia State after his sophomore year. In there for strike 3 at 78 miles an hour. Chrisman freezes him to end the 6th inning of play here.
That is a huge strikeout.
Still 0-0 here at Jimmy John's Field. Time for the Chevy race.
Those Motor City wheels are messing around, waiting to get the car to go downtown. La 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 la. Taking some time and having some fun, waiting to get the call that it's time to run. La, la, la.
Holy Hot Rods, it's race time. Chevy Detroit wheels, start your engines.
Here we go. Time for your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers race. I got Petey Pickup here today. He's going to come through for the first time.
All right, I'll go with Corey Corvette.
They're off to a slow start. The sun might have got to these wheels earlier. Dan, I don't know if you saw on the stream yesterday, we had a pit stop and then Petey Pickup spun out and then another crash.
Is that right?
As they passed some of the diamond tables just to our left.
Okay.
Outside of the Jimmy John's Field lettering.
Looked like they could all use a pit stop right now. This is a very leisurely.
Are they out of fuel here? Or getting low? Wow, look at that break. Out of nowhere.
Cam Arrow?
Cam Arrow going to storm to the finish. He might just showboat his way past the Beavers dugout down the first base line.
Wow. Just hit the gas there.
RPM went way up on that.
It sure did.
Down to Chelsea Estes now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a
All right, everyone, I'm here with not one but two Metro Detroit Chevy dealer fan of the game. We have Vanessa and Tim. Vanessa, it is her birthday. So Vanessa, how old are you?
Well, my birthday's tomorrow, but I'm going to be 13.
Oh, a big teenage years. So are you celebrating here at Jimmy John's Field with your family?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you hoping to get for your birthday?
I don't know.
Everything and anything, a game at Jimmy John's Field, right? And I'm here, Tim, congratulations on your retirement. Where did you retire from?
General Motors 12 years ago.
12 years ago, but we're celebrating tonight, right?
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Why not?
All right, you guys, congratulations. They are the Metro Detroit Chevy fan of the game.
Thanks, Chelsea. Good stuff. Dazon Cole now on the mound, the flamethrower. Full-time Westside Woolly Mammoth as of recently. He's averaging nearly 94 miles an hour on that two-seam fastball. Thank Eric McKean for all his fine work in the analytical department, getting us some great stats that we're going to pepper in on this broadcast as the year progresses. And there's a good start for Ross Haffey. And Dan, we've talked about the power. I mean, he's a guy that you throw it to his spot, he's going to launch it a long way, but he's also done a decent job walking as well. 6 walks to just 9 Ks.
Yeah, he can hit for average. But the power is what you see. It looks like he's going to get lifted for a pinch runner here. Is that Olin that came in?
Looks like it, yeah. Olin and Ron Williams Jr. were the 2 available on the bench for Vaughn Joshua's team here tonight. John Murphy and Dante Glover are the 2 others in the fold on the pitching side for this Mammoth squad. But they hope Dazon Cole is the only man they need, and they can score 1 in the bottom of the 7th here. Showed signs of maybe doing that in the 6th, put runners on first and second with 2 outs against Chrisman. We got a big time strikeout to the heart of the order as Comer fouls that one off. Cole, fastball, changeup, slider. Still trying to get him to make sure that head stays still as he delivers that at 94. That was one of the major mechanical flaws that Justin Orenduff and company noticed as soon as he got here.
You can see it a little if you watch him. Sometimes he over rotates a little bit. It really comes down hard.
Runner pitch in the dirt, going down to second base. And that's easy as Cullum applies the tag along with Landon Barnes for out number 1.
That's a huge defensive play there by Cullum to strike down the pinch runner, man on first, nobody out in a 7th inning situation like this. Very aggressive there by Olin. I know he's fast, but that was very aggressive for 0 outs.
Didn't look to have a great jump either. This one in for strike 2. There's Isaiah Cullum.
They'll talk about that probably later with the coaches. With nobody out there, that's really too early in the inning to run into an out like that. And now it hurts even more after this walk.
Another close pitch. Cole walks a runner to first base here.
You never know for sure because the pitcher may approach it differently if the man's still on first base, but ultimately, you ran into an out in a situation where a couple pitches later you could have been on second base anyway.
Romero Harris, he could use a big hit right now. On the ground, shortstop side, Kieber to second base in time. Over to first. No, that'll escape him, and Harris is going to remain in foul territory down the first base line. So safe with a fielder's choice, and Jonathan Brandt with a chance to play hero here. Brian Veratina on Facebook saying Kentucky's rooting for the Beavers here tonight. Deloy Williams, R.J. Williams' grandmother, watching here tonight from Columbus, Ohio. This one in for strike one on Jonathan Brandt. 0-1 up high. If you made it to the Columbus Zoo, they tell me that's one of the best ones out there.
I have not. I've been to the Toledo Zoo several times.
It's a nice one.
Yeah, Toledo was pretty good too. I wasn't aware that Columbus was well thought of.
Yeah.
How far of a drive is that for us?
It's about 3-4 hours.
Okay. I don't think I've been to Columbus since I was playing.
They have a nice baseball stadium down there, too, the Clippers. This one fouled off. They have a cool logo. It's actually, I got one of those shirts, one in my collection. So it's a ship, and then with baseball, stitching or whatever as the sails. So that's kind of cool.
Gotcha. I believe Drew Henson was a Columbus Clipper at one time, wasn't he?
Sounds familiar.
Do they play at the same ballpark as Ohio State, or is that a separate ballpark?
I'm not sure. I think it might be a separate one.
Okay.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Nearly hit Brandt as he sneaks inside. Walk, fielder's choice. Has a runner on first base here in the 7th inning. He's moving. Doesn't matter, though, as Dazon Cole able to get his first strikeout in big fashion here in the 7th inning. The line doesn't look completely pretty, but in the end, he's able to coax it out. Here's Leo Hotel.
That time, sponsored by Genesis Credit Union. Take me out to the ball game in the 7th inning stretch. Let's hear you sing. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Thank you, fans, for participating in the 7th inning stretch.
And if you're the Mammoths, they're saying, let's get some runs here in the bottom of the 7th inning as well.
I always hear that phrase in Harry Carey's voice.
Let me hear you.
Let's get some runs.
Sam Little, Isaiah Cullum, and Josh Wright, you're scheduled 3 to come up. Brett Elmer and Jalen Smith available on the Westside bench if need be. And we see Garrett Chrisman come back out there. Beautiful line of work for him in the 6th inning. Leadoff single. Then he got the pop out to right. The walk by Landon Barnes. And in the end, the strikeout looking to Will Johnson. I beg your pardon, it was not a leadoff single. It was a 1-out single after the strikeout by Jones. But nonetheless, good job by Garrett to strand a couple runners. Sam Little trying to bring some of those adjustments to the plate that they've been trying to work him into. And if he can put that into action, gap-to-gap hitter can get you a double here to start things off.
We haven't had any type of a walk-off victory yet this year, have we?
No, not since I've been here. I've been here for almost every game. But
we're due.
Here's a 0-1. Outside. Chrisman tonight, 83 pitches. Got to be kidding me. McKendall threw 83 as well. How many times have we seen that? Cole threw 18 in that last inning of work with the walks.
Just matching each other again.
The 1-1 is a swing and a miss at 76 as he took something off there. The changeup has looked good today. The fastball has been good in spots. Hasn't exactly gotten the call for strike 3 on the fastball quite tonight. Here's Brandt for the first out. If extra innings do happen, again, we go by international rules here in the USPBL. Only play 7 regulation, at least for now. Justin Ornduff came on as a guest color commentator the past couple days while Dan was out, but he wouldn't exactly commit to it. But he said, if we get to the point where, we feel that the pitching is where it needs to be, there's some more arms available, we could extend to a 9-inning contest.
I think the 7-inning ball game's exciting too. I don't necessarily feel as if it's awkward. Of course, I watch a lot of high school baseball as well, so I'm used to it from that. But
0-1 on the corner for strike 2. Brian Comer answering your question. The Clippers and Ohio State each have their own fields.
Okay.
They're fairly close to each other.
Thank you.
Downtown Columbus, a pretty nice spot as well. It's pretty big. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Wanted it at 88 as he has a few choice words for the home plate umpire here. But Chrisman's a guy who can forget about that and strike out Isaiah Cullum on a dime. Here comes the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Tying him up inside at 83. 2 up and 2 down in the 7th. Josh Wright, the last shot. Wright today is 0 for 2 with a ground out. And a ground out. Second base side. The first one went 3-1. Bottom of the order today, just 1 for 6. Keandre Jones at the very bottom has your 1 hit. Linda Boyd Chrisman says, nice pitch. I agree. 0-1 is low and away. She's referring to the strikeout to Isaiah Cullum on the 1-2, I assume. Great placement at 81 on the exterior there. Drop in the changeup. He's been ultra quick all night long. That's the way he wants to work. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the ground first base side, snared by Shoemaker, and he's going to take it himself. Made it look easy in the end. Garrett Chrisman has retired his last 4 batters. We'll see if he stays out there. Not quite to 100 pitches as we go to the 8th inning. After this, extras when we get back. Stay with us.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Detroit Mercy really models a value-based education. They focus a lot on service, which provides so many different experiences and opportunities that allows us to tie in everything we learn, how to apply that outside of the class.
There are a number of different programs that we're a part of to help bring the community back and revitalize the city of Detroit. Doing service with the community really helps bring Detroit Mercy outside of the gates and to everyone.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
With Equinox from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the sky isn't the limit. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Extra innings brought to you by Budweiser here on the USPBL network. 0-0 as we head to the top of the 8th. Jonathan Brandt made the last out in the 7th. There he is with the international tie-breaking rules. Each extra inning will start with that runner on second base, and Cullum wants to talk to Cole before they begin things.
Well, I can tell you what I would do, but it's only what I would do. You can take it or leave it. You know, you've got a hitter who's really struggled so far this year. You've got a tough matchup for him with Cole. I would just bunt this guy over to third, or at least try to bunt the guy over to third.
Webb Little, along with Keandre Jones, are half expecting it. Yeah.
Yep.
He's swinging high and tight at 91. What'd you see out of Cole in that first inning of work in the 7th? I mean, a couple walks, was able to get out of it with a strikeout in the end.
Yeah, you know, it looked like his slider command was there, but his fastball just was running all over the place a little bit.
1-0 into the glove at 92.
He has that tendency, though. We've talked about that. Over-rotates a little bit. He's got some mechanical things to work out. Gets outside of himself a little bit with the fastball.
1-1 pitch in at 92 again, and by Drew Thomas.
And there won't be a sac bunt now, presumably.
Yeah, the corner's relaxed. Jones is still in tight to the line. He's backing up a couple more steps now. In there for strike 2, or 3, I beg your pardon, at 92.
Back to your Catholic League days there?
Yeah, the 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's okay for something specific like Catholic League doubleheaders.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of their thing with the league play is the doubleheader, and it makes the games go quick. I think in some cases it hurts Catholic League teams in the postseason because they get a little over-aggressive.
Here's Freddie Geely, Catholic League guy himself.
They tend to be such good teams with such good players. A lot of times they overcome it, but I think the typical Catholic League hitter has a tendency to be over-aggressive because of that 3-2 ball.
Geely, a Brother Rice Warrior, then a Siena Heights Saint, then an Eastside Diamond Hopper, and now a Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver.
He's done a good job for all of them.
Hitting at the top of the lineup these days. That's something he's not used to. Fly ball left center field. Howard and Johnson converging. It's the center fielder Howard who takes charge.
Howard Johnson, that's a good combo. I didn't think of that until you just said it.
2 outs. Jonathan Brandt still standing at second base. Geely just getting under that one, and it's a rare 0 for 4 night for Freddie. He's actually dipped under the 300 mark. Came into last night at 323. Tonight at 294, and he's going to range near the 280s with the limited at-bats that all these guys have had so far this season. Xavier Warren uncorked a double in the game last night. That would plate the run currently. He's got to turn around 95, though, as that's in for strike 1.
I always love to see this chip versus chip matchup here. The Central Michigan Chippewas, power pitcher, power hitter facing each other.
0-1, fly ball to the gap in right center field. That's chasing Little over, and he is going to make the catch out there. So in the end, a 1-2-3 inning, despite the runner starting at second base because of the tie-breaking rules. We're heading to the bottom of the 8th inning, and we'll stick with you. So John Murphy not needed quite yet. Maybe we'll see him if we go to the 9th. We encourage you to chime in on Facebook and YouTube with your comments. Victoria Chambers says she has her Beavers shirt on and her Mammoths hat on with a heart face or a heart emoji and a crying, laughing face. So there you go.
Well, Victoria is like us. There's no way to lose.
We will not play more than 9 here tonight, or more than 8, I beg your pardon, right?
9.
9.
9, no more than 9. Would like to see somebody win it. I don't ever like to see that tie column in baseball.
No. But you got to do what you got to do, certainly in a season like this, and with USPBL baseball in general, you don't want to overtax your pitching, and there's no room for that this year, certainly.
Absolutely.
Jared Price going to come on. There's Enver Shaplow, our fine first base cameraman, working quite a few of our games. Spencer, hello. Christian Gibbons, our director here tonight. Jeremiah Hergott, our producer and graphics man. There's Tinky. And there's us. Hoffman Dental pitching changes. Jared Price comes in here. Jared Price pitched last night as well.
So if he allows this run to score here and the Mammoths win the ball game, what pitcher gets the loss on the day?
That's a good question.
I don't think we necessarily know the answer to that. I don't think enough of us have experience with these international rules to know all the little nuances. I
did find out after our one tie game that was broken extra innings, that was also 0-0. Ty Hensley is the beneficiary of that overall, but the run is a team unearned run, so it's not even, it's not credited to one pitcher or the other.
Yep.
Jamal Howard, Keandre Jones, Garrett Kieber, your Zach Hart agency, 3-men due up. You're in the bottom of inning number 8.
Well, see the Mammoths taking my strategy approach, I guess, and thinking about butting them over. Got a good base runner on second base, Josh Wright. He needs to keep his feet moving, get a roll here.
Takes that back for strike one at 80 miles an hour.
He'll try to bunt this ball to third base.
1-1, did get it off, but it rolls foul. Now most likely that will be taken off.
It's hard to criticize at this stage of the season. They haven't really had a chance to work on that at all yet.
Price yesterday pitched 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. No walks or strikeouts. 1-2, capped it on, pulled it back, and it's a 2-2 count. So Smith takes the spot of Howard, who was 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. 2-2, just got a piece. Dove the bat head out. Remains alive.
Interesting that they took the bunt off there after the one attempt with 2 strikes. Or the one thought, anyway.
2-2 on the ground, third base side. That's going to get through for base hit and more. Runner coming around third, right, going to storm his way home on a slide. And just like that, the Mammoths have walked it off.
And who needs a sacrifice bunt when you can hit a double down the line? And this is our first socially distanced walk-off of the season with the Mammoths doing a little bit of the hop that you would normally see, but maybe not quite as close together as normal. But a nice pinch hit job there by Jalen Smith. Failed on a few bunt attempts, but was able to get out in front of that one and line it down the line.
Well, is it Jamal Howard or Josh Wright that Chelsea Estes catches up with, or is it a pitcher? We'll have to see that in our Auto Lab postgame report coming up in just a minute, but two great outings here tonight by these pitchers, Dan.
I'd go with Ben McKendall if I were Chelsea, if she's able to wrangle him personally. But, yeah, it's a couple of great starts from these guys today.
So that Auto Lab postgame show coming up from the United Shore Media Desk when we get back here on the USPBL Network. 1-0 your final.
Play smarter, Woolly Mammoths
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not. We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo! Do it every day with the Unlimited Club only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club. Join today, starting at just $21.99 a month.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Detroit Mercy really models a value-based education. They focus a lot on service, which provides so many different experiences and opportunities that allows us to tie in everything we learn, how to apply that outside of the class.
There are a number of different programs that we're a part of to help bring the community back and revitalize the city of Detroit. Doing service with the community really helps bring Detroit Mercy outside of the gates and to everyone.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
With Equinox from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the sky isn't the limit. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At FSBCares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBCares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
At Priority Health, we're embarking on a new normal, embracing the changes needed to keep Michigan safe. While that may look a little different for everyone, Priority Health is here to help. With access to the care you need, the doctors you want, and the quality coverage you can afford. So you can get back to this, and this, safely, steadily, and with the smartest health coverage possible.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people. When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
Balfour was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At Balfour, we're restoring more than property.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am here with the Auto Lab player of the game, Ben McKindle from the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Ben's outstanding game today. I mean, both pitchers had a fantastic game today. This puts the Woolly Mammoths with their second win. Woohoo! And two on the board, that's right. Let's go over your stats for everyone at home, too. You had 6 innings pitched and 6 strikeouts, no earned runs. It was a great night for you. So with that being said, what have you been working on in the off season and when you came here back to Michigan? What have you been working on to make everything kind of click for you?
So during the off season, I'm actually adding pitches to my repertoire. So my last 2 starts, I've been adding a cutter. And I threw a bunch today, and it seems to be working. No one can hit it, and I'm throwing it for strikes. Because my last start was against the Beavers, and I did well in the first, and then the second inning was a disaster. And then I did well the last 4 innings, and Al actually gave me a little tip on my pitching mechanics, and I'm locked in right now, and I feel really good, and I hope to continue this the rest of the year.
I hope so, too. I mean, this might be what it takes for the Mammoths to get things rolling. Let's talk about your teammates. I mean, they had your back the whole night tonight. So what's it like in the clubhouse with this new set of guys? Because you are a returning member here to the Woolly Mammoths. What's the new set of guys like?
It's really cool. We obviously a bunch of new guys this year. We don't have the same guys as last year, but our best asset is our defense. So as a pitcher, if you use your defense, you usually play pretty well. So I've just been using our defense, and my left fielder, Will Johnson, made a really nice play that kind of saved the game for us. And if that happens to dunk into left field, then it's a completely different ball game. But just having that defense behind me makes it so much easier to pitch.
They got your back. It's fantastic. So I said earlier, this is your second here at USPBL. So what's it kind of like the second time around?
Obviously, with the COVID, it's a little different. Not having fans, we just have a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm a pitcher, so it's just me and the catcher. I zone out everyone else. So it's kind of the same, but it's different because you can hear everything around you, and there's no fans cheering and screaming except my host mom, Diane. We love her dearly. She yells every time, so we love her. But other than that, we're still playing baseball. So that's, at the end of the day, we get to play baseball, and it's super exciting, and hopefully we get to continue this the rest of the season and finish out.
Fingers crossed for that, and Diane got a great shout out. She was your only cheerleader that you needed tonight. She's great. All right, Auto Lab player of the game, Ben McKendall for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Fantastic job tonight, and let's hope the Mammoths get on a roll. All right, Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah, you hear Ben McKendall talk about that new cutter. That's something that he's worked on, threw it in the bullpen last game, and was able to incorporated it and did really well with it through innings 3 through 6. A key to his success here today, and the changeup was on point as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what? When you have that type of an arsenal, you've got a 4-seam fastball, a 2-seam fastball, a change, and then now a cutter also, and not to mention the slider, which he always had. You're seeing a lot of balls that are of similar velocity that move different ways, and as a hitter, it's really tough to anticipate what you're going to see up there. And even though his fastball is not overpowering, it's still very tough to make those adjustments as a hitter.
Jalen Smith, the pinch hitter, along with Josh Wright, the prototypical runner, to begin the extra inning. Bottom of the 8th inning, the heroes here today. The double down the left field line wins it. And Garrett Chrisman and Ben McKendall really pitched well out there for their respective squads. We'll see you tomorrow. 7:05 start again here on the USPBL Network.